Hi everyone. So lately I have been having what I described as nostalgic feeling, and I described it to my mom and she was like, "Oh, everyone has that from time to time, that kind of low grade kind of feeling." Okay. And maybe just that persistent a kind of itch that something is just missing out, okay, or maybe is this its kind of vibe, okay, because recently we moved house and we've now settled in, and I'm just like, I'm not feeling as excited as I imagined I would feel, okay. So, and reading about it, I just kind of pinned a name to it just now, and it's something I described as that constant feeling of dissatisfaction, or maybe that constant feeling of feeling like, oh, something is missing. We could be a lot better than this, okay? Or maybe that feeling that life somehow is kind of slipping through our fingers just now, okay? And I feel like I'm not the only one feeling this way. So there are a lot of us in this boat that feels like, oh, life is beginning to slip away. I've not achieved this and that. And I feel like it's also kind of human to feel this way, okay? Because most people, I would say, spend their entire lives, okay, chasing maybe a cure to this kind of dissatisfaction that we feel. So you're always setting goals for yourself because you're trying to kind of get satisfied, but it feels like the search of man is unsatisfiable if that's the case, okay. Say for example, you buy yourself a new phone, or even like you switch to a new job, okay, or even you move to a new house or a new city like we just did, and you are maybe like expecting the feeling to kind of be of excitement, but all of a sudden you're feeling a bit, is this it? Or low key, you're expecting that those new things will make that feeling of dissatisfaction to kind of vanish away as well. But what happened is that it sneaks right back in, okay? And every other time it keeps sneaking right back in, okay? As you achieve new milestones, after some time, your brain settles in and it's kind of, you start feeling the same again. So today we are not going to be talking about, oh, staying positive or just maybe just manifest a better life, without having to be practical about it, okay? Today I would try to maybe discuss with ourselves. We're going to share how we can actually have like an antidote to dissatisfaction just now, okay? When we feel dissatisfied with our life or with some things in our life, how do we then kind of have like an antidote to that dissatisfaction that we feel? Because I feel like everyone feels it at every point in their life, okay? So my lovelies, you're welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is EY Trudy, of course, and my name is Eya. I'm your host on this channel. So if you've been here for a while, of course, you know the channel is all about your well-being, your wellness, okay, and living a life that you are kind of not just good on the outside, but also feels good from the inside, okay. We normally explore like actionable kind of but gentle self-development, okay, practical things you can do on your day-to-day life. Of course, living a life of gratitude, okay, and having that mental clarity or kind of mental clarity tools to help you build a life that feels maybe good, both on the inside and not just looking good on the outside, okay. So if that sounds like something you love, okay, if well-being is something you love, if wellness is something you love, which I believe everyone loves, by the way, okay, please subscribe, hit that subscribe button, okay, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video from this channel, okay. And of course, we are doing our A to Z on wellness, but this video is not part of that series just now. This is a different topic on dissatisfaction that we are treating just now, because I have been feeling this way lately, okay, and I am trying to also tell you that it's a normal feeling. Every human being feels this, okay, and we can work on the antidotes that can help support us when we do feel this way, okay. So now let's dive into why we sometimes feel dissatisfied, or how to even go about trying to fix it, okay. Like I already said, it's human to feel dissatisfied, but then constant feeling of dissatisfaction is something that is also of mental and needs to be worked on, okay. So what I would say is that to cure that thing we call dissatisfaction, we have to first of all even understand why it exists in the first place. Okay. Now, psychologists would normally call it something I call like hedonic adaptation, okay, of our brains. So it is our brain's kind of evolutionary tendency to quickly return to a kind of a relatively stable level of happiness, despite some major changes or some major positive or negative changes that may have happened in our life, maybe recently as well. Okay. So say, for example, you wanted to move into a new apartment. You've always wanted to do this. So eventually you did get that apartment. Now, after some time, you're very excited you moved into the apartment, but after some time, your brain would return back to its normal level of happiness and it just becomes, it's just your apartment. Or maybe, for example, you wanted a new job. Okay, you've been job hunting for a while. Eventually, you landed that your dream job. Now, it's just your routine. You just say it like, oh, it's just my job. It's just my normal routine. Okay. So what this simply then means for us is that our brain isn't built, okay, to kind of permanently be satisfied. Our human brain is not built to constantly be on a happy state, fully satisfied state. It is kind of built to keep us like wanting more or seeking more, okay? Or maybe keep us surviving or keep us moving or keep us having aspiration. Okay. So this satisfaction in itself is actually like a feature of our human biology, I would say, and is not like a kind of a defeat or a bad thing in itself. Okay. The only challenge is this. The problem is when we let this kind of feeling of dissatisfaction or this evolutionary feature just now to run our daily emotional state. Okay. So we will probably end up living a life where we feel like, oh, we are just trapped. Okay. When then it's more like, okay, I'm in a trap system whereby I'm like, oh, what next? Okay, I've achieved this check. What next? I've achieved this check. What next? Okay. So when, say for example, when I get X might be like a phone, okay, then I'm going to be happy. But then when you reach that milestone, you still find out that you're not happy. Then you're not satisfied. Then you're also hoping that when you get Y, you'll be happy. So how do we then break that loop? Let's even like move into something like maybe a bit kind of practical just now. How do you break from that loop of constantly wanting more, constantly aspiring for more, constantly feeling overtly unsatisfied with your life and wanting more? Okay. So this is what I call the dissatisfaction antidotes. Okay. So the first one I would suggest, which I constantly do, is to shift from comparison to sensory. So now, comparison is like, for example, the first thing is instead of you constantly comparing yourself, okay, with other people, okay, you can start to focus on what is currently happening in your own life. So let's put it this way. Dissatisfaction live almost entirely in the abstract, okay, things we imagined our life to be. It lives in the head. When you are always comparing your current realities against two things, you can be comparing it with like an idealized version of what you think your life should be, okay? Or you can also be comparing it with someone else's perfect life on social media, perfect life on Instagram, perfect life on Facebook, all the social media. Of course, people present their perfect life, okay? So what happened is that, okay, that idealized version, the version you are imagining your life to be or where you thought you should be by now, okay? So normally when you feel that spike of dissatisfaction, okay, your awareness is like, oh my God, your awareness of the current environment you find yourself is like miles away, okay? Because in your brain, you are imagining things. Let's put it that way. You are imagining things in your brain just now, okay? And That's why you're feeling dissatisfied. So that's your awareness is far away. So what we are suggesting just now is for you to bring yourself into consciousness. Bring your focus radically, okay, back to your senses. So say, for example, you're in the kitchen, you're drinking coffee in the morning, and you are beginning to imagine and feel dissatisfied with, oh, I'm going to have work to do today and all of that. What I would say is don't scroll the Instagram, okay? Don't start imagining things. Instead, okay, smell the coffee that you're drinking. Look at the cup you're using to drink the coffee. Look at the kettle you use to boil the hot water. Start focusing on your immediate environment, what you can feel, what you can touch, what you can smell. Feel the heat of the mug. Notice the silence in the room where you are, okay? Because what happens is this: dissatisfaction cannot survive in the present moment because it relies heavily or entirely on your mental projections, okay? It relies on you imagining things or projecting things. So if you're not projecting anything, if you're not imagining things, if you bring yourself back to your present circumstance, you probably feel more satisfied. So what I would say is to always, like myself, I'm beginning to always practice what I call like pulling myself back into what is physically in front of me. Okay. And if you kind of pull yourself to what is physically in front of you, maybe like 3 times, okay, 3 times a day, it can work as an antidote to that feeling of constant dissatisfaction and wanting more. Okay. And now let's discuss our second approach just now. It's just an approach, guys. The second antidote is maybe like replacing goals with a progress inventory. Okay. So say, for example, just now, maybe let me do this. Okay. Let me do this quickly. You have a very massive goal that you want to achieve. We constantly look at it like, hey God, oh my God, I don't even know how to take the first step. Oh, it's such a big thing. Will I even imagine achieving this at all? So what this simply then suggests is for you to replace it with simple milestones, okay? Because looking up kind of makes you feel small, slow, and perpetually dissatisfied as well, okay? But instead, we are encouraging people to kind of measure the distance between where you are and where you want to be. But more than anything, measure the distance between where you are and where you started. So when you want to look at your life, before you are feeling dissatisfied about things, think about the yesterdays that you prayed for, the today that you already have, okay? Here is a practical exercise, okay? Take out a piece of paper just now. Take out a piece of paper just today. Write down 3 things that you are taking for granted right now, okay? That's past that you used to kind of have, or those things that you used to kind of pray for in the past, which has now currently become your daily living experience or your daily reality. Write it down because you are beginning to take them for granted. Make it like, maybe it is the fact that you have a stable place to sleep, okay? You have a home over your head. Previously, you were squatting with people. Now you have your own place. Maybe it is a skill that you spent maybe years mastering the skill. And now you have become an autopilot in that skill that you can just execute tasks. You can just do things like at the speed of your finger without even kind of needing assistance anymore. You are now like an autopilot. Maybe it's even like a friend group that you constantly, previously in the past, you never even had any friends, but now you've made friends. You have lovely women in your life. You've even joined so many friend groups. You've joined club groups and all of that. Okay. So, because when you train your brain to track your progress, rather than just the gaps, maybe the satisfaction that you get from the current reality, or maybe the dissatisfaction that you get from pursuing another goal. Okay. When we train our brain to be grateful, to count our blessings, to notice what we prayed for that is now our current reality, we probably would cure dissatisfaction. Okay. And now, the other one is that, my people, you have to learn to tell yourself, this is my enough. Because the truth is this, if you don't define what enough is for you, then the world will define it for you. And then what that simply then means is that you're going to be on a constant chase. Because what really is enough money for yourself? What really is enough productivity for yourself? What really is enough success for yourself? Okay? What really is enough I don't even know how to describe it. Because what happened is this. The world will happily define it for you. And of course, we all know that the word definition of enough is indefinite. You can never have enough money. You can never have enough career path. You can never have enough good job. You can never have, there is always something better than what you currently have. Okay. So, because there's always going to be another level to unlock, another thing to buy, another bigger home to move to, another milestone to hit. Every morning, ask yourself one question. What would make me feel sufficient today? I don't mean feeling perfect, just sufficient. I don't even mean feeling like a legendary, like I've won an award, like a role model, like a hero. Just sufficient. What is it that would happen today? And I'll look back to today and say, oh, I've had a productive day today. I managed to go to work. I did my job. I did my school run. My baby is fed. I am fed. We had light in our home. We watched television. We had some rest. Is that sufficient to make it a good day for yourself? You have to define it. Because say, for example, or maybe even going for a 20 minutes walk you set in your schedule, or having meditation. Because what happened is that once you hit that milestone that you have set for yourself for your day, please declare victory. Stop waiting to look at what other people are doing to be feeling satisfied in your own kind of goalpost, okay? And stop moving the goalpost for yourself. Declare victory for the little milestones that you have achieved, okay? And stop moving the goalposts. Because what happened is that you then scroll on Instagram and see, this person is doing this, and you then feel, oh, you start imagining things, okay? So yeah, the third one is to always remember to define what enough is for yourself, okay? And the last but not the least, what I would suggest is that this satisfaction is inherently self-focused. What do I mean by this? If we don't focus too much on ourselves, too much on the inward, too much on, oh, me, we probably will not be feeling a lot dissatisfied. So what we are trying to then suggest is to focus on others, okay? It's not about what progress am I making today. Focus on what progress can I achieve this, can I help the next person to achieve, okay? Because the fastest way to kind of break out from a self-focused loop is to turn the energy outward. When you contribute to someone else's well-being, and when you contribute to someone else's goal or milestone, your brain receives an immediate shift in perspective. Okay, this doesn't mean like you have to quit your job, or maybe you have to kind of join a non-profit organization just now. Maybe you have to volunteer all your working hours and don't live your normal life just because you want to put all the energy towards supporting others. You have to keep it a bit practical, or even micro-practical, I would say. You can start by maybe sending a genuine message of appreciation to a friend or a co-worker, okay? Helping someone achieve a very little milestone of theirs, okay? It could be someone who is recently struggling financially, and you're aware of this. You can step in and just help as little or as much as you can, okay? or even maybe help someone with a quick task without even being asked to do that. Okay. More than anything, you can teach someone a skill that you probably take for granted, but this is a skill you have. Say, for example, knitting. Okay. And this is something I'm looking to do as well. I'm looking to teach people how to knit. I'm very good with this, but I've not done it in a while, but I want to pass on those skills because you take it for granted, but hey, it is a skill. Okay. Now, when you shift the focus from yourself, what am I getting out of this day? What am I going to achieve today? What am I putting into this day? What happens is that once you shift the focus from yourself and shift it to what am I going to do to support someone today? What am I going to do to help this person today? You will feel that feeling of dissatisfaction will dissolve very fast and almost instantly as well. Okay? So, but don't get me wrong. Dissatisfaction, feeling dissatisfied or wanting more, okay, isn't a kind of a permanent sentence, isn't such a negative thing. It is just a kind of a signal, kind of telling you that you have now kind of drifted from the present and you are now into like a trap of an endless expectation, okay? We want this, we want that, we want that, we want that, okay? Endless expectation. So you don't need to you don't need like a brand new life to feel satisfied. You just need a brand new way of interacting with the life that you already have. Okay? Because if you even look at it, the life you already have is very amazing. Beautiful life, gorgeous life. Things you need to be grateful for are plenty. Okay? So, what I would say, my lovelies, is this. Thank you so much for watching this video. Okay? I hope I've been able to kind of bring it together that the feeling of dissatisfaction is something we all feel at every phase of our life. And it is just our brain's way of trying to stabilize and just return back to normal, even after a big negative or positive event had happened. And that feeling is also human because it keeps us wanting more, needing more, aspiring for more. But it's also a feeling that needs to be managed with gratitude, managed with defining what your own goalposts are, and manage with living consciously and also supporting others to achieve their milestone. Because when we do this, okay, we'll find that we already have enough. We have enough in the life we currently have to be amazing. Okay. So now, if you found this video resonates with yourself, please give it a thumbs up. More than ever, it is very important to interact with our videos. Give it a thumbs up, share it with someone, share it on your status, invite people to come and watch this video on our channel, subscribe to us, and more than anything, stay with us in EY Trudy, okay, as we continue to explore kind of options and topics around living well, well-being, and living a life that you are not just living, but you are happily living. Okay. So I'm Eya, as always. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I'm so grateful to have you here. Thank you. And I would say bye-bye. I'll see you in our next video just now. Okay. Bye.